Okay. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that my dog is in his kennel in the corner of the room, and so he may make some weird noises. A few minutes ago, he decided that he was going to start ripping his blanket that is located inside the kennel. So I apologize if there's some really weird noises, and also my nose seems to be running a little bit, so I do have tissues with me just in case. Okay, so I'm going to be comparing the TSLAC checklist with Waller's ISD's collection policy, and what looking through. I mean, I wrote down everything that TSLAC's checklist has, so I could easily see and compare with Waller, and they followed the checklist to a T. Like everything that TSLAC says should be included, Waller's got it. Somewhere within the policy. It's not exactly like set up the exact same way that the checklist is set up, but it is in there in the policy somewhere. Now there are some things that Waller I feel like goes above and beyond. That than what the checklist requires, and so I was going to go over what Waller specifically does. And so one of the first things is that their goals, and how what they feel like is the most important part of what a collection should do. And so one of those is the very first one. It says present multiple viewpoints related to controversial issues. And so I thought that was really intriguing in that, they're not just showing other viewpoints or background, but they're specifically want multiple viewpoints for the controversial topics and not shying away from it, which I think is a really good thing for people to be able to discuss once they know everybody's viewpoint. Like you shouldn't just hear from one viewpoint. The second thing was that, they provide a wide range of background information that enables students to make intelligent decisions in their daily life. And I think that's one of the most important things, providing information to students, is that they're able to take that in and make their own ideas about what they've read and be able to apply that into their lives. And I just thought that was really cool that Waller made that one of their goals. And then another thing is that Waller, one of their two goals, specifically talks about background information and viewpoints that is not just state related, local related, or even America related. It's actually global viewpoints. For like goal 5, it says the library collection should offer global perspective that promotes equity of access, including print, non-print materials. And so I thought it was really cool that, they're including global viewpoints besides just what's around here. And then goal 6 specifically states that the collection should represent diverse viewpoints and cultural groups of the state and their contributions to the state, the nation, and the world to ensure the collection embodies the background of all students. And so what I've noticed, is that there are a lot of people moving to Waller that are from different countries. I have last year I had a student that moved here from the Philippines in the middle of the year. She spoke perfect English, but she also did speak Tonglong, and so that's how she was able to go to pre-K, which is fine. But it's a different culture. It's a different viewpoint in the way they look at things. I know I've noticed a lot of people moving here from Africa, especially I believe Nigeria, and that's totally a different culture in the way they do things than the United States. My coworker specifically right now, I believe it's Barbados, or I can't remember what the other country it might be is, but they speak French, and so mom only speaks French, and so totally different than here. I know my coworker tries to translate as much as she can with Class Dojo and everything. But especially in Waller, what I've noticed is like we don't really have anybody that speaks French to be able to translate. And so I feel like that's somewhere where we can grow. But I love how, we have all these people moving in. And so then we are trying to represent those viewpoints and their different cultures and how they make contributions. And so that was something I thought was really cool. I totally forgot to say this earlier. But I thought, but the whole thing about TSLAC, Waller following TSLAC's checklist, it specifically states within the policy that library materials shall be recommended and procured in accordance with guidelines adopted by the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. And so they reference it and totally follow it completely. Now, there were some things that were different that I felt like that Waller went above. So, for example, for instructional materials and library materials, the board considers the list and they may propose or make changes to it, and then they have to approve or reject the materials. And then with donated materials or proposed procurement list, they have at least 30 days prior to the board's vote to accept donated library materials or approve procurement of library materials. The superintendent shall make accessible to the public the list of library materials in accordance with the law. Another thing that really struck out to me was the parental involvement. Of course, parents are very, have a say. But specifically in Waller's policy, it says that district staff may assist the student in selecting library material. However, the ultimate determination of appropriateness remains with the student and parent or guardian. So I did not know, even as a parent within Waller, that I have the ultimate say in what my child has access to. And so the I'm sorry. There is a I am so sorry. In here it says that okay, so let me continue. I'm so sorry. So parents or guardians can submit to the principal or a staff member that is designated by the principal a list of materials that the parents or guardians the parents or guardians shall not be allowed to check out. And then therefore, which is kind of what I developed in, I believe, speaking with the AI, is that if there was something that the parents did not like, then maybe we could put a list in where, okay, this child is not allowed to check out this material or look at this material, which is kind of cool that Waller already has that implemented. And so the parent or guardian may select alternative library materials for their child. So they can either specifically block or they can say, oh, here's an alternative. Another thing that I thought was really interesting is that, in TSLAC, it specifically says, let me find the spot, that parents and, where is it? Parents and community members, they must have access to it. The online catalogs or library library materials and curriculum materials. Let me see. So, like, here in the general requirements, TSLAC says that general requirements is that it includes an access plan that allows efficient parental access to the district's library and online catalog. Um, and so the way that Waller has that is a parent or guardian who wishes to access the school's library shall first submit a request to the principal. And then the principal or a staff member designated by the principal shall work with the parent or guardian to determine a time to access the library that will not interfere with the delivery of instruction or disrupt student use of the library. And then the library catalog, a parent or guardian who wishes to access the catalog of library materials in the district shall submit a written request to the school's principal. The principal or staff member designated by the principal shall respond to the request in accordance with administrative procedures. And so I thought that was interesting in the way that they have to request. Because I know, at least as a teacher, I have access to it, the catalog through Follett or Discovery. And so I thought there was a way that parents were able to access it through Discovery. But I get learning is that they have to make their wishes and requests known to the principal. So that was new to me. And another thing that kind of surprised me was that, of course, with inappropriate material, it does not state in TSLAC, but it does state in Waller that library materials shall comply with the Children's Internet Protection Act, including technology protection measures. I had no idea that that was even an act. And so that's how, in my mind, Waller is going above and beyond than what just TSLAC offers or says that a policy should have. And then... okay, so for a parent, community member, teacher to challenge the appropriateness of a material, first, they would like the librarian or an administrator to try to resolve the matter informally before it goes to a formal request. And so they have to make the request online. There is a request form online that if they wish to go with the challenge, and then that gets sent to the superintendent. And then once that submission goes through, the superintendent appoints a challenge committee, and will notify the challenge committee members about the challenge. It must include the librarian and at least one member of the instructional staff who is familiar with the material's content. It could also include district level staff, secondary level students, parents or guardians, and any other appropriate individuals. And then that committee convenes. They go over they review the challenge library material in its entirety and determine whether the material conforms to the policy or whether the material will continue to be available in the library. And then they have to prepare a written report of its findings. The superintendent, the school librarian, and the individual submitting the challenge will receive a copy of the committee's report. And then for an appeal, an individual who submitted a challenge may appeal the decision to the board. The individual must provide the notice of appeal in accordance with the administrative procedures. And so once a library material has been challenged and the board determines that it's not going to be removed from the school library, it cannot be challenged again before its second anniversary of the board's final decision. And so from what I understand from reading that is that once they make a final decision if the book is appropriate or not, it cannot be challenged again for 2 years. And then, of course, if the book is deemed inappropriate and should be removed, the librarian, teacher, whoever has the material will be notified to remove the material as soon as possible. And then what TSLAC said, and this is where, Waller pretty much follows TSLAC. TSLAC says to ensure a regular review of the collection development policy at least every 3 years. Waller's policy is the policy will be reviewed every 3 years and revised as necessary. It was pretty much, it was like, whoa, it's exactly the same. Just those few things that I really noticed that were different in Waller than in the checklist. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not very good with ending videos, and I was just double checking that I did not miss anything, and it does not look like I did. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. I hope I explained myself very well. Thank you.